Hello!
It's winter time here and I'm feeling super inspired to create a Christmas pattern. Say it could be used for fabrics or for gift wrap or for whatever you want. So I'm going to be creating this pattern in Procreate. This is not meant to be a full tutorial, but a walkthrough of my process and why I make certain design decisions. So if you want to learn this step by step, like really slowly, and what you need to do to create a half drop repeating pattern, check out my class. I'm going to leave the link in the description box, and there I explain everything step by step. I'm starting with a 12 by 12 canvas, and I have my sketch in one layer, and now I'm going to set the background because I'm going to be creating very light elements, so I want to be able to see them when I'm painting white animals or white snowbanks. I'm going to be using this palette. If you want to grab this sketch and this palette, make sure to join my newsletter. You'll also get a ton of other freebies, licensing royalties class, and the 2024 digital planner, and the watercolor brushes that I use in Procreate. I am going to use the Oberon brush, and that's why you see that I'm creating an outline and then I'm coloring in the shapes, not just dragging the color into them. It takes a bit more, but it makes it look cuter because this brush has texture. And I'm going to start painting all the animals in these layers in a way that I create the body in one part and then the back ears or back paws in another layer. I'm painting the back of the tail and the wing in another layer, and then I'm creating the body in the top layer. I'm going to be doing this for all the animals. For example, here I am painting the body of the bear in this layer, and then I will paint the ear and the back paw in another layer. You will see later when I'm shading why I'm doing this. So here goes the ear and the back paw. Now let's paint the deer. So here I am painting the body. And then I'm going to create a layer on top to paint the antlers. Now I'm going to create a layer on top of everything to create the features. And I'm going to get a darker color that's not on this palette and just make the eyes and the little beak, and do that for all the animals. If you're following my sketch, change the features, change the animals. This way you'll start creating your own style. I'm going to go back here and create another layer, and I'm going to paint the tree on it. Now I'm going to go to the bottom layer, and I'm going to start creating the snow. I'm going to create another layer, and I'm going to drag it underneath and there, and I'm going to create the snowbanks that will be in the back of the animals. Here I'm going to create one that's going to be on top of the animal. I'm going to keep drawing the snowbanks that are on top of the animals in this layer. And now I'm going to create another layer and add these other snowbanks. I'm making sure that I don't touch the borders so that when I make this pattern, it works. Now I'm going to the back layer and creating another layer, dragging it underneath, and I'm going to create the little eye spawns. I'm also creating some foliage. I go back and forth between layers, painting elements that are on top and elements that are in the back, like these leaves, for example. I just like to have all my elements separated so that if I want to correct something or I want to change it, it's easy to do. Because this is going to be a pattern, I'm keeping my elements in the center, not touching the borders. And once I'm done, I'm going to swipe to the left and turn on alpha lock in every layer. This way I can color inside of each element, and I can create shadows and textures or whatever I want without having to worry about coloring out of the lines. So I'm just creating some basic shadows so that I can give a little bit of interest to the elements, and I can create separations between what's in the back and what's in the front. For example, in this fox, I can separate here the tail from the front of the body and the ear from the front of the head. I'll keep doing that to all the elements. And this is the reason why I created ears, for example, in the bottom layers and then the bodies on the top. I'm going to add some details too. And here I'm going to draw the leg of this bunny, for example. And I'm going to continue adding details to each of the animals. So for example, here I'm adding some little dots to the deer. And with some darker color, I'm going to add some shade here to separate the neck from the head. I'm going to grab this color here and make the antlers darker. Yeah, I like that better. Like now you can actually see them. Usually my style is way more detailed, but I'm trying a more graphic style for this pattern. Remember to experiment with these, add more detail, add less detail, create a more graphic look, add less texture, different color palettes. This way you'll find your style and what you like best. Now I'm going to add some cheeks and some other details to this owl and create a bigger separation of the body against the back wing. I like to do the main characters first. This way when I see them finished, I can assess how much detail I want to put in the other elements. I think I'm done with the animals, so I'm going to go and add some more details to these snowbanks in front of the deer because right now they're not separated and I want them to look like one is in front of the other. I think I'm done with this step, so now I'm going to go to the gallery and I am going to duplicate this file and now I'm going to start creating the repeat. Now I am going to merge all these elements so I can work with them easier, and I'm going to delete the sketch and duplicate this layer, and I'm going to drag in some pink into a new layer and put it underneath my illustrations. I'll duplicate that so we have two sets of each, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the left and right hand side of the repeat. Usually you create the top and bottom too, but for this pattern I wanted to make it very simple, so I'm just doing this step. Make sure that magnetics and snapping is on and move these two layers to the left, making sure these orange lines appear so you know it's really in the middle. And now we're going to go with the two bottom layers and we're going to select them both and drag them to the right and make sure that this point is exactly in this corner so you know it's in the middle. And now I am going to duplicate this and my pink color also. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to grab these two and I am going to move them to the top. And I'm going to make sure that this circle is in the top corner. And then I'm going to select the bottom two and I'm going to drag them to the bottom. Again, make sure these orange lines appear and this circle is in the corner. And this is to create a half drop repeat. Now I am going to delete all the pink backgrounds and I can merge all my layers, and this is my repeat. I'm going to go ahead and add another layer, and then I'm going to extend this illustration further up. This way it will make it flow better. And in this space here, I am going to add a little mouse. I'm just trying to fill in some spaces in the middle. This is just a walkthrough, so if you want to learn the whole process with every step that's involved, remember to check out my class. The link is in the description box. I'm going to extend these sleeves a bit higher, but again, I'm not touching that border. And I'm just going to add some little dots everywhere to fill in the gaps. And now I'm going to go to the gallery and duplicate this again. And I am going to test the pattern. So I'm just going to open the layers and merge them all. And again, this is all explained in the class. So I'm just going to go through this very fast, and I'm going to show you how the repeat works. And there we have it. This is a normal repeating pattern now, not a half drop. And now you can see that the deer from the left is here on the right, and that this bear that's in the top is here in the bottom. So now when you line this up, it lines up as a normal pattern. And here's my pattern. I put it in a mock-up, and I also changed the color of the background to create a totally different vibe. The pattern on the right is more Christmassy, and the pattern on the left is more like a winter pattern. So just by changing the colorways, you can change the mood of your pattern. And if you want to learn this, check out my class and follow me here, subscribe to this channel, and if you're not in my newsletter yet, join the Happy Designers Backpack so you can get all the freebies and you get monthly creative briefs. So see you there, and thanks for watching. Bye!